Welcome back, everybody. I told you I was going to have another tutorial of Snowdrops, the January flower, one of them, because there's also carnations. But I decided to do Snowdrops in acrylic paint the first time, and the second time I'm doing it using some of my handmade metallic watercolors. They're really super glittery. And you can see them sizzle as I'm putting them on the stone. Now I have started off by using some black matte acrylic paint, and I just kind of did the top of my rock, a nice even coat of black paint, and I let it dry really, really good so that we can use the watercolor on top of it. Now you can do this on top of a handmade stone using molds from the Happy Dotting Company on Etsy. And because a lot of people don't have stones this time of year, yeah. Because where are they? Where are they all underneath all that snow? Um, so what I'm doing is I'm just doing the same thing that I did on my last tutorial. I will post the link to that tutorial in this description, but it is just the Snowdrops, January, the flower for the month of January. Now I'm using like a dark glittery green. It's like a hunter green almost. And I'm just doing the leaves, and I'm also going to do the stem. And I'm using like a light goldish green to do the centers of these leaves to kind of lighten them up in the center and give them a bit of a vein down the center. Now this stuff dries super, super quick. So if you make any mistakes, let it dry and go back over the mistakes with black paint, and then go back to your metallic watercolors and start over. It does sometimes take a little bit more than one coat to cover some of the glitter in the metallic watercolors, but you can definitely fix your mistakes working on top of black paint. So you guys, if you saw my last snowdrop tutorial, I don't have the technical names for all of this stuff, doodads and bikinis and all that stuff. I was told that there are outer petals and inner petals, and the green bikinis are just actual inner petals inside the larger white petals of a snowdrop. There's a special name for it. I don't have it right now, but I was more concerned about getting this tutorial up for you guys when I said, but unfortunately it's now going up on Tuesday. So same thing that I did with my other one using acrylic paint is I went out of focus. There we go. And I made a little bit of grass at the bottom by just flicking my paintbrush upwards using a fine lining brush in the metallic watercolor, and it's now sizzling and it looks wet. That's just my grass. And I'm going to use like a pearlescent white blue. It's just a handmade color. I believe it's an interference pigment. I don't know enough about pigments to be able to explain it all, but basically it looks white from one angle and it looks like a metallic blue from another angle. So it looks super pretty. I am going to let it dry and do a couple of quick coats. Don't use too much water. The more water you use, the more transparent this lighter color will look. Any of these lighter colors on top of black. So you have to be super careful and not to water it down too much. And if you do, let it dry and do another coat carefully without using too much water. It is all about how much water you use when it comes to watercolor. Depending on how transparent you want things to be, or if you want it to be solid, you have to be super careful with the amount of water that you're using. So you can tell from this light that most of my green is dry now. I've done the cute little green hooks coming from the doodads. And then on the green hook is a little green bell. And on the green bell, we do the petals. Now, I'm doing it exactly the same. So once again, take a look at my snowdrop tutorial. I spent more time explaining how to paint it in that one. And this one's just a quicker version using some watercolor paints because it's actually super quick. painting with watercolor, and it takes a lot less time to dry. So I'm making sure to do another coat carefully and covering all the spaces that I can see that black through. So anywhere it's a little darker, I'm going over it carefully. And if you just mess with it too much, it ends up lifting up the black acrylic paint from underneath, and then you have to start over. So just take your time and don't use too much water, and you will eventually get comfortable with the whole watercolor situation. This is going to look, oh, there's my cat Maple. This is going to look a little different once we resin it. So keep that in mind. It's going to change the look of everything. And some of this paint that I'm using is actually color shift. So it's going to change colors when you turn it a certain way under different lights. You can't tell right now, but you will be able to very, very soon. Now back with my black paint, I am going to outline everything, separate all the leaves. I will be using gold in this one. I did not use gold in the last one, in the acrylic snowdrops. So we're going to use a little bit of gold in this one just because I miss it. And Maple wants to say hi. Hi. Maple. No, now that I want her to say hi, she just stares at me like I'm a crazy woman. But anyway, I'm going to try and get her out of here so that she doesn't talk our ears off while I'm trying to show you this snowdrop tutorial. Well, she decided not to leave, so if we hear her again, yep, that's why. So I'm separating everything, like I said, using black paint, but I am going to be going over with some gold a little bit later on the leaves especially. But just make sure you use a fine brush and just kind of outline everything. Sometimes people prefer to use paint markers because they don't feel comfortable with a fine lining brush. I do have a tutorial on how I make my lining brushes like this. My dream is to one day be able to sell my fine lining brushes in my Etsy shop to everyone in need, because there's so many of you who have asked, and that's just not something that I've been able to get done yet. So if you have any ideas of where I can go, hopefully in Canada, where I can manufacture my own paintbrushes, custom brushes, please let me know. I would really appreciate it. I need to be guided in the right direction to know what the heck I'm doing. But yeah, that's my biggest dream, is to provide already cut, perfected, customized paintbrushes for everybody. But until then, my tutorial's in the description of every video, and that's what I'm using to outline the black. And I make sure, like, I know there's a black background already, but I'm just separating everything and making sure everything has its own parts and nothing's like glued together weird in an area. You can just use gold if you don't want to use black. It's completely up to you. And also you can do like a glittery background, like a blue background with watercolor before you even start this. It's totally up to you, but I wanted to keep it black, keep it simple. And I'm going again with a third coat of this pearlescent color, whitish blue, because I can still see some black through it, some of that background. But we're going to see nothing but shine once I resin it. So I love the resin part. If you guys could, please hit the like button. It's a free way to help me show other people beautiful things. It's a free way to get other people painting, hopefully, and picking up rocks off the ground and seeing something beautiful instead of, something boring. Some rocks are beautiful on their own without being painted, of course, but so here's the bikini. You guys might have seen this in my last tutorial. I don't know what it's called, but it's inner petals. It's the inner petals of the snowdrop, and there's a little bit of green on them. So once I get that green on there, I am going to outline it as well using black paint. But we have to wait for that to dry. Luckily, me being so impatient when it comes to painting, it dries quickly. So we get to move on quickly from one thing to the next. But I usually have more than one rock going at a time anyway. So I have to separate everything again in certain areas because I got some of the white on top of it. Always check over everything before you seal it, because I know myself, I've seen mistakes or something that I've forgotten after sealing it. And then it's like, oh no, now I have to repaint it. Actually, I do what I forgot, and then I resin it again. So sometimes there's more than one coat, unnecessary coat of resin, because I made a mistake and I didn't edit my work before I sealed it. But if you have done that, leave me a comment. Let me know I'm not alone. And hit the share button too, so that people can see what we're all doing here, us crazy rock people, us rock stars. So I'm just making sure that my bikini's outlined, and that I did make a mistake on that first flower on the left. And that's why there's like a big black blob there. So I made a mistake, and I'm going to paint it again. Wow, what's wrong with the lighting here? I do not know what's happening. Looks like we stepped back into the 70s momentarily. That's okay. I was born in the 70s, so that's okay. So I'm still working away at this. If you want to take a look at pictures of snowdrops, just so that you know what I'm doing, if you have not seen my tutorial from yesterday or the day before, just take a look. Google pictures of snowdrops. They do come in lots of different colors. This is a common color, and it is the January flower for anyone whose birthday is in January. I will be doing every month. So for those of you that just had their birthdays in December, I'm sorry. Happy belated birthday, guys. You're going to have to wait till December for the next one. But there's going to be lots of other stuff for you to paint in between. So next month it'll be February's flower, and then March's, and then April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And there's Maple again. Maple's birthday is not in January, so she might be upset with me. So here I am again, just making sure that my flowers are pure pearl blue, and hopefully the color goes back to normal at some point throughout this video. So if you've missed gold as much as I have, it's back. I'm going to use some Folkart Mayan gold. This stuff is very expensive. I get mine at Michael's. It costs about $20 a jar. But I love it, and it's worth it, and it does last me a long time. And if it starts to get goopy and thick, I just add a little bit of water and keep using it. I'm probably not supposed to do that, but I do use distilled water. I try to use distilled water with my paint whenever I'm using paint. But who knows if it's ruining my paint or not. I use it till the last drop because it cost me an arm and a leg for it. So you can see these little bikinis inside the flower. They're like little green bikinis with a white stripe along the bottom. So I'm making sure to outline it so that it looks like there's a white stripe on the bottom of the green bikini. The inner petals. Inner petals. Now you can see some of the different shades of green and like the gold that I've used in the leaves. It's starting to show a little bit better now that everything's dry. And I'm outlining everything in gold. And you don't have to do this. You can use silver. You can just separate everything with black and leave it there. I am going to use the gold around the outside where the natural stone meets the black matte background. I'm going to do some big gold dots just as a frame around the outside, just like this. Try and keep them all the same size, but of course, nobody's perfect. So some of them might be bigger and some of them might attach to each other because they can't be alone. They have abandonment issues. So that's okay. They're going to stay like that. If they're happy holding hands, they're holding hands. So don't stress. Don't stress about dots if you're worried about the dot part of this. I try not to do all dotted tutorials because some people are just, very intimidated by the whole dotting process. But this is super easy. It's just like little studs, little gold studs around the outside, just to give it a nice little frame. Very simple. They're not all the exact same distance apart from each other, and they're definitely not all the same size. And some of the gold has lumps in it. Oh, some of them are holding hands. I can see them at the bottom. And that's okay. They don't want to be alone. There's nothing wrong with that. So I went all the way around, going quicker and quicker. I speed it up so you guys don't get bored with me. But you can see everything's coming together nicely, and it's different. It's the same flowers we painted already, but in a totally different medium, and it looks totally different once it's sealed. So I'm super excited to show you the color shift as well. Almost done. Then we're going to check it over to make sure that it looks just right before we go and put it in the resin bath, because you don't want to do that to yourself. And now, what's at my desk? So I haven't shown you what's at my desk for a little while, so I've got a couple of things here. This is a nice one for Valentine's. If you guys are interested in doing one like this with me, super easy. It will be a very quick tutorial, and they're all really pretty. This one is a design from Cricut, and basically I just did my own thing with it. I didn't like it the way it was, so I did my own thing. Now this is a beautiful set of mandalas, and they are so pretty. That background, it shifts from like green to gold to this deep maroon, and it's just breathtaking. You could do whatever you want with that stuff, and it will have people staring at it all day. So pretty. I'm going to be adding some of this stuff into my shop, of course. Of course. And what else do I have here? I have this one. It's kind of an egg shape. So I did all of the really pretty watercolor background first, then I resined it, then I did some gold stuff on the front of it. I didn't want to do the whole thing. I didn't want to cover all that beautiful color, but who knows? It looks really pretty. And I really want to do like a Fabergé egg. Is that what they're called? I want to do one like that. There's that same stuff again, only this is not on a stone. This is on a handmade stone from the molds from Happy Dotting Company. And I make the stones, and this is what I'm going to be working with very soon because it's so pretty. I don't even know what to do, but it's so pretty. I just love it. And this one is a little different. I just swipe on the color, and different metallic watercolors. Some are glittery, some are not as glittery. Changed up the colors all the way along, and it just looks so beautiful just like that. Now I'm just bringing this back out. This is to give you my love, to give you my heart, to say thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being a part of my family, my rock family. You are all rock stars, no matter what. Please don't you ever forget that. Now it's time for the resin reveal. Boom! That resin brought out all the glitter, all the shine, all the color. You can actually see different color in there, and now we're going to see it shift. So it went from being green and white to purple, blue, green, white. It is gorgeous. I just love watercolors, you guys. They are so fun to play with. What do you guys think of this? I really do want to know. So here's a picture or two. Let me know in the comments what you think. Keep painting, you guys. I will see you very, very soon.